Hello there everyone, this is Iron Mark 3 and welcome back to the Ashes of the Empire campaign. In fact, no, dumbass, it's not Factorio, it is From the Depths. For some reason I keep interchanging these two and it's like, oh, they start with an F, they must be the same game. That's not how it works. Anyway, welcome back to the designer. I'm going to be here briefly before going back into the campaign, but there are some things I need to touch on here. So let us begin. First and foremost, I've got a nasty little thing spawned over there with its AI turned off, and that's because there is something else to quickly show you guys. As mentioned at the start of last time, I was working together with comments and things to try and work out a rapid-firing bomber type thing, and I've got two variants here which I came up with: the bomber C type and the bomber R type. So yes, the R type is the railgun version, the C type is the carpet bomber, and sadly the R type doesn't really work too well. Let's just get the C type out first. Now, what I've done here is, I have worked the system together. I've built 5 separate bombs so that it can just drop many bombs in a wide area, because, you know, carpet bomber is supposed to drop bombs all over the place. So each of these racks holds, what was it? I think it's 19 shells ready for use. And the entire thing just moves backwards and forwards quite well. Though it's also a low altitude craft as well, I must stress that. So just come back around. It's got some AI and detection systems on it because it needs detection to be able to pick up the enemy for the actual ACB block to work. But sadly, from the experiments trying to recreate this legendary bomber, this is the closest I've got to it. And it's not even the same kind of vehicle, it's a completely different thing. So yeah, now that it's lined up, I can show you what it does, though my skill with the AIs means I've not actually got a functional AI-driven version of this thing up and going yet. You are still lined up, aren't you? Yes, you are. Okay, let's get the camera over here so you can see what happens when I hit the full throttle. Wait a moment. Stupid. And I just turned so it's no longer aligned properly. Yeah, there's no point in going until my bomber is actually armed and ready. So yeah, it needs to have bombs ready to go. Otherwise there's no point, is there? So, I might as well talk about what I discovered in the browsing around and through the links I was provided and things like that. The idea of this was a railgun which could be deployed, like it would spit out every last shell it had in its magazine in an insanely short amount of time, as in instant, and it would work and also target enemies and things like that. But I'm sad to say that according to what I've been looking around at and looking at, that is not actually a possible thing anymore. Are these shells actually loaded? I'm hearing lots of clicks, so they might be. I think the shells are actually now ready to go. Anyway, I'll explain better when I get to the other prototypes, because I could probably show you a bit better on that one. But I think the shells are all ready to go. Unless I'm completely misreading the situation. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the stats trying to work out what's going on and it's not... They've got to be loaded by now. They've got to be loaded by now. So, let's go in and show you what this thing does when it hits an opponent. Or it hits the general area of opponent, I should say. Just make sure it's lined up properly, and... full throttle! Here we go. Okay. This is the cram bomb, the carpet bombing variant, just to remind you guys. and it's low flying because I need to make sure that it hits the rough area. Okay, it's a bit to the side, so turn it forwards, and there we go, bombs dropping. And that's what it does. Oh, that was actually effective, that one. Oh dear. Sadly, this thing has very mixed results, though. As you can see here, that was actually a spectacular hit. But then again, this is actually a very lightly armored craft. Even testing against Lightning Hood's medium craft, this thing has sometimes done little to no damage to them. So it's very variable if it actually hits and does damage or not. Another thing about it is that you've got to configure the ACB to detect when the enemy is within range, and you've got to take into account how high you've got the vehicle going, so how high it's flying around, and how fast it's supposed to be going as well. And then if something happens which damages that, like it's forced to fly lower or the engines get knocked off, then the weapon system actually becomes kind of useless. So yeah, this thing is not exactly adaptable, shall we say. It's not very adaptable at all. Since things are loading up again, let's get that. Right, there we go. I should be able to fire these things again. No. Come on. Why are you not letting me fire? Oh, no fire control, of course. This is the problem with the testbed, okay? I make many mistakes. Many mistakes. Fire control computer. So in all, this is an interesting way to do it, but it's not very good. Oh, it's not even loaded. Oh, it's because I was pointing in the wrong direction. Of course it is. And there was a slight glitch there because of explosions too close together. So yes, that is basically what happens with this thing. Yeah. Anyway, I spent longer than expected on that, so let's get back to it and load into the next thingy, the R-Type. And this is where I mentioned I'd talk about what happened to the original design. As you can see, I've racked this one up a bit better. I've got, well, I've built more leeway into the actual design. It's got railguns on it. The shells have been modified to have railgun charges and all that glorious stuff, and plenty of battery power. Now the problem is that the railguns need to charge between shots. Even on manual, like, oh, see? They fire off a single one with the railgun charge and then the rest just get spat out. Like that. So yeah, on manual it will do something like it's meant to, but on AI control it won't even do this much. It'll just fire a single shell and then leave it at that. At best, and I mean that, at best, it won't deploy anything else. So yeah, the reason for this is the reason why I say this design is basically defunct as a general idea. It's because of a change to railguns which has come into place since that particular design for a mass bomber was made. If I go into the, where is it? Lasers. What's the rail? No, it's advanced cannons. What am I doing? Hooray for being focused. Anyway, yeah. What we've got here is the railgun features. We've got the attachment part, the barrel magnets, and the railgun charger. All well and good, isn't it? Right? Well, not in this case. Because for this weapon system there used to be a fourth railgun part, which was the railgun battery, which acted as the cannon's own internal battery store, separate from the main craft battery. And overall this feature has actually been integrated into the railgun barrel magnet. So the magnet holds the charge and then fires the weapon and discharges 100%. And that is the problem right there. Because every time the rail discharges, it has to recharge, and so it can't fire again until it's recharged it. It can try, but it won't function because it will say the shell can't go anywhere, so, you know, that's the whole problem in a nutshell. Previously, you could set it so it would take a little bit of power from the built-in cannon batteries, and then it would keep firing as long as the built-in batteries had charge. It wouldn't matter if the chargers had drawn power from your actual vehicle itself. As long as the cannon held enough power to fire, it would immediately just discharge it all and throw out the shells as fast as possible. And that's how that previous system worked. It's just not possible anymore. So in this, you're restricted to how quickly you can charge the magnets from your ship, and that means that at most you can probably get a point. Well, what's the fastest firing rate? 0.01 or something like that, I think. But yeah, either way, you won't be able to do anything faster than how fast you could charge the rails up, and how much you can charge the rails up. It dictates how far you can go with the shells. So that's what happened to that original system, and why it is no longer possible in the form that we've been trying to do it. Sadly. This design is also defunct, and I actually think it's slightly less useful than the flat-out carpet bomber is. But you know, we try things. Sometimes they even work. Do that, yep. Oops. Oh. And there's me accidentally killing myself. Of course. That always happens at some point, doesn't it? Anyway, next up, there was something I was going to do after the previous video that went out the week before last, since I accidentally replaced it with a video from Adventure Mode, but I've forgotten what it was. So I've done the other thing I remember, which is to take the rushing maggot, this little thing here, and build a new variant of it, which is this one here, the gnawing maggot. It looks about the same, doesn't it? Not much change, but the key is to look at the front. The gnawing maggot is also about 1,000 resources more expensive, but if you look at it, look there, on the front. It's got full-fledged rotating arm, loaded to the brim with lots and lots of spikes. And so this is, well, the prototype I knocked together in the last episode was like a flat one, spinning 4 around. This one, I've built it up with an entire rotating arm of the things on the very front, spinning very, very quickly, just to smash into whatever it hits. And then I've gone ahead and reinforced the forward armour with heavy metal and actually heavy armour blocks as well, to increase the durability of the front section. And then on the back I've added more thrusters, and inside there is now a PID, which will allow this thing to try and control its pitch a bit better, so it won't just go randomly flying off straight upwards and be unable to correct itself again. Well, fingers crossed anyway. This thing is very unreliable once it actually gets airborne, so you know, there is that. Also, it now has resource storage and its own repair system situated in the belly of the craft, so it can actually try to fix itself up at least a little bit when it knocks itself out in the middle of a fight. And this thing is still very much going to do that. By the way, the reason for the heavy armor reinforcement is because half the time when this thing hits an opponent, half the time it does damage on impact to the target, but every so often, on a disturbingly regular basis, it actually shreds down the side of the hull where the spin block is attached, which is on this side. So, you know, for some reason it needs structural reinforcement to even hold itself together on impact. It was just too light and flimsy before now. And even now it still breaks itself pretty often, so if nothing else, this thing is still pretty darn good for putting on a show. Or something to that effect. Yeah. This thing will be appearing in the actual campaign itself when I get in there. So that's what's happening with that one. And as you can see, it says unstable as always.
Yes.
Just delete that. So yes. Apart from the changes I listed, the entire thing was about the same, so that's why I didn't show you more of it. Okay, next up to load is... I could load the Wraith in, but you've probably seen that video before. A 41,000 cost 2K flyer fitted with jump drives, which just bops around all over the place, dipping in and out of reality as it makes a general pain of itself. I wasn't sure if I was going to include this in this particular campaign, but since I built it to the required size, Oop, there it goes already. Bye. Yeah, that's what it does, man. Since it bops around like that, I wasn't sure if I was going to include it in the campaign because, you know, I didn't give you guys a chance to name it, and it was basically just a test bed for me to try and work things out. But I've decided heck with it. I'm going to install a couple of those just to see how well they work out. I'm still working on getting a pack version up and running of it, but I've not managed to do that yet. And if you guys want, I can take it out later, but still. This is my work on a smaller version that's going on called the Wisp. It's basically a much more compact version. It's only weighs in at, well, it's only about 500 volume right now, and it's mostly there. It's much more compact. It's more power hungry because of having extra jump drives to compensate for the smaller size. So it's it takes a lot more, but it can move around about as well as the Wisp can on a smaller frame. As well as the Wisp, as well as the Wraith on a smaller frame. So this might be the start of a kind of faction kind of thing, I guess. Because it's built kind of in the same style. Though this one is, I'm planning to give this one just missiles as its primary weapons, but it's just not ready yet. I've still got to balance it all out and get it airborne and little things like that. So, you know, it's a work in progress kind of thing. I just thought I'd give you a quick sneak preview of it. Man, I've spent 15 minutes just babbling on about designs, haven't I? Anyway, there is one last thing to show. I'm sure you'll be glad to hear. One last thing, which I will then finish and bring into the campaign with me. And that is actually in the base section. To protect myself from losing so much territory that as I have been doing, I've actually worked up a start of a defensive tower. Not finished, as you can see from the screenshot, but let's load this in. This, ladies and gentlemen, is very loud because the engines are just fired up. This is what a 20,000 horsepower laser system looks like, of the Q4 variety. So this is a 20,000 horsepower Q4 laser. It hits about as hard, well, actually harder than the Scorpion does, because it's got better piercing on it, and it's got more damage per shot, but it fires at it fires at double the rate as well, on top of that. So, yeah, this thing is actually very dangerous. I've been testing and tweaking it. I'm not quite done with it yet, but this is basically what it is, because it's already pretty high on the block count. Bring that up. Yeah, 1,100, so that's enough for the hull and maybe a bit more. I'm not quite sure. But actually armouring these things does take quite a bit of blocks, so, you know, things like that. But in testing, this thing has actually gone up against lighter Flayer vehicles, and it absolutely shreds them. So this will be perfect for holding my ground against them. The only things it struggles against really are the heavy things. Let's go ahead and spawn some enemies. Like, let's see, the Chaos, I think it's the Forsaken. I don't think I've actually seen one of those. But basically, the more expensive and larger vehicles, which they have access to, the laser is not fast enough at eliminating them, so it becomes quite vulnerable. But lighter things like the Slayer or the Reaver, yep. Go laser. Bang. Oh look, that's in serious trouble. And then it's already finished with that and targeting the next thing. And it immediately fires on the Slayer. And yep. Look at the damage count, top right. 117 confirmed. 117,000. And both of the enemies are AI dead, so the tower is now ignoring them. So, yeah. This thing is actually pretty darn good. It can even knock out Chaos and Beholders and things like that, but it takes a little bit of time to do so, so, you know. Let's call in a priest. Bang. The tower took some return fire there. I think it... yeah. Since it's not finished, it's not protected, so as you can see, it's slightly vulnerable to getting knocked out. Okay. But yeah, that is the laser system for my defensive tower. Now I'm going to get that built up and finished. So I'll see you very shortly. Yep, I think that will do the trick. Okay, let's quickly talk you through what I've done here. I've taken the 20,000 horsepower Q4 laser and the 24,000 horsepower engine, I think it is. Yeah, 24,000 horsepower engine. And I've wrapped it in a layer of metal armour with some heavy armour reinforcement around the base where I've installed the fuel storage systems. I've also included some limited self-repairability and some resource storage, so it can do that. And I've also installed all-around reflective shielding, so the tower itself is completely surrounded by angled shields, and the turret itself also features angled shields off to the sides, which should help deflect incoming fire. But this tower, well, it's too large, basically. I built it too big. If I check the volume for you, it is now a 1978.5, and that is with some angled scrimping and scraping to save some volume as well, so that can't really be done to shave much more off it. There was a laser anti-munition system, or rather two, on the prototype one that you saw a few moments ago. I've knocked that off because there wasn't enough space to install separate emitters for it, and there wasn't enough, well, attaching it to the main laser just robbed it of an absolute ton of firepower, so it couldn't really kill much very quickly as long as enemy missiles were coming in. So in the end I've stripped off all of the weapon systems, all of the protective measures. All it's got is armour and shielding to keep it safe. But yeah, this is a lot of firepower in a turret, and it'll do well against most targets that come into contact with it. Unless they've got lasers, particle cannons, or missiles, because it doesn't really have much to protect it against those. Wow, that is actually a depressingly long list now that I think about it. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let's get into the actual campaign itself, because I've been waffling on for over 20 minutes now by my count. So yes, let's actually make some progress. That would be nice. Okay, here we go. When last we saw the campaign map, I was pulling my forces back because they are getting a little bit depleted from the fighting and the casualties I was taking, to be quite frank. So yeah, they were pulling back because they're in need of serious material reinforcement, which is still all being tied up by my flipping resource storage silo up here. I still don't know how to correct that, so yeah. Anyway, let's get the resources out of there so that I can get things sent around. And more importantly, I'm going to teleport over here. And why am I doing this? Because I want to actually get a new building loaded in. New buildings. Ashes. Base. I need a relay spike here, which is 4,600, so as you know, a good one. I still love the style of the spike, though I've failed to really replicate it that much. Repair, pull you out. I'll get you building. Okay. Then I'm going to add in another fabricator here, since it's my southern border of my core territories, I guess you could say. So a fabricator will also be nice. Load that. And then lastly, a little bit further south, I am going to install the first of my defensive turrets, which is going to be about here. Yeah, I'd say here is a good one. So let's do that. Right. Actually, I need to make sure it's pointing the right way so that the turret's properly aligned when it spawns in. That means I need to be facing this way, southwards. Yeah, here will do. Okay, that's my... I think that's actually my southern border more or less secured, isn't it? Well, it's the most secure it's ever been, really. I must admit that, because my defensive force has been, even with the recent additions of the Manti and the maggots and things like that, it's still been struggling quite a lot. Speaking of the maggots, let's actually get those refitted as well while I'm at it. Where's the... Yeah, retrofit that as a gnawing maggot. And also retrofit these two as well. Oh, I can only retrofit one at a time. Fair enough. Now, another reason I was reluctant to spawn in a Wraith in this campaign is because its primary armament, as I mentioned, is a railgun. Railgun, not great against the flayers, because they've got the shields against high velocity projectiles, so that can be a slight issue. There we go, is that everything sorted out? Okay. Well, that said, the Wraith can make a very, very fine distraction of itself as well, so that it's got that going for it. Okay, the defense tower is up, the spike's up, the fabricator is up. All that is now up. Excellente. I'm going to install another loadout like this over here in these foothills, since some enemy forces have been coming in this direction as well. And then I'm going to push out and try to expand my territory a little bit further, just to make some more progress and try to push deeper into... Wait. Is that the Gypsy territory? No, that's someone else. Oh, the flayers are actually down here. So I need to be heading down this way, I see. Okay, fair enough. Maybe if I made that 20k laser mobile. Oh, that would be a nuts thing to see, wouldn't it? Still definitely a thought to tuck away for the future. Well now, sadly I didn't have the resources to deploy a Wraith immediately, because a Wraith costs about as much as the defense towers do. Well, actually slightly cheaper. But on the good news, these two defense towers I put up have just intercepted an incoming enemy force, which is, oh, it says it's an airborne force, but it's just a priest, so yeah, this shouldn't take long at all. Mr. Priest, you are up against a single defense tower, I would say, and that's all that you require. Make sure everything's spawned in, turn off resource mode, okay. Turn off that mode, okay. Make sure that the view's good, okay, right. Just go ahead and let this priest evaporate like something that never exists in the first place. The only thing is that I have actually less blocks than this thing does as well. Also, I should note about the defense tower. The Scorpion, I went with a steam engine for my version of it, and look at all those missiles coming in. Oh dear. Yeah, this is where the lack of missile defense is going to be a slight issue. Though that said, the heat-seeking ones, they go straight for the bottom of the tower, while the AI is at the top, so that's okay. Yeah, enemy AI dead. They are gone. Yeah. Okay. I considered going for a steam engine with this tower, just like I did with the Scorpion and some of my other designs, but the deciding issue was very much the time lag involved.
Yes.
Resource carrier, you can go there. Yes. Main assault force, push forward.
On my way.
Because I want to actually create a forward post out here somewhere.
On my way.
Or try to find another resource pocket at least. But anyway, the towers are actually fitted with combustion engines so they don't have that time lag, so they can fire up immediately and get the laser pumped up and get the shields up and all that jazz. Because I experimented a bit with getting a steam engine involved, like having pre-charges on the steam engines to actually get the steam up to pressure faster and then cutting off again. Which is fine, but it takes extra volume and it burns extra resources to get that initial surge of power. And then I considered delaying the laser to wait till the steam comes up, but the thing is the steam takes a while to come up, so you know, also not great.
Yes. On my way. Yes. On my
And then I also considered just flat out keeping the AI disabled until the steam power comes up to speed, but bunch of stingers and a spike. Oh, that's an air force that is actually mostly an air force. Wow. Colour me shocked. I am very surprised at that, actually.
Yes.
I am more surprised than I should be, to be quite honest. Oh well. There's not going to be much call for the maggots in this one. This is going to be mostly down to the scorpions, I think. Yeah. This is going to be mostly down to the scorpions. Well, I want to try and push down here and start capturing more territory. I should build a scouting craft, actually. Yeah, that sounds like something I need to do for the next video. Build a scouting craft, scout the world, and see what there is to be seen. Because I don't know where the enemy resource pockets and things are, and I would like to capture some. So, you know. Anyway, excuse me. The maggots are up first, then I want the scorpions to be getting involved, because the scorpions will actually be the most useful thing involved at this point, since it's enemy flyers abound. And then it'll be the G150s, so lots and lots of firepower. Then come the less useful things, namely the scarabs and the ASB would really struggle here. Maybe I should actually retire the ASB since I've got the Manti out and around, so you know. Actually, that's a creature comfort for this game I think should be added to this game. It's the ability to click on the stuff here in this list and have it highlight it, as in select it on the actual field itself. That would be a huge help for setting up battles when you've got a bunch of forces around. Because as it is, I've got to select them all on the grid itself, and it's actually kind of... yeah. It's a slight drawback, I think. Anyway, let's get these things out of here. That's one of the G150s, get it pointing in the right direction, and yep, that should be fine. Okay. Yep, there we go. Just need to get the terrain spawned in. That would be nice. Avoid me bugging out anything. Yep. And here they come. Hilly terrain. The maggots are going to love this one. Okay, let's get this fight started. I outmassed them just a little bit though. But, oh yeah, there was a comment about if heavy vehicles get killed too much, then it can be very expensive, and I agree. So if my heavy vehicles continue to take too much damage, I think it's probably time to do a redesign on them again. So, you know. Come on, lasers. Take that thing out. Yep, that one's dead. Okay. The maggots were trying to get at it, but they failed. I think my force might be too large now because it's prevented much of the enemy force from spawning. The maggots are having fun though. I recolored them, by the way, so they're not that previous cream colour. They're now more of a reddish pink with extra shades of red on the front. So, you know. Ooh. Wait, is that an aircraft? No, is it? Really? I thought that was a tank, but no, it looks like an aircraft. I can't see any wheels on it. Well, that's disappointing, and also awesome. So yes, but also it's very, very dead. So yeah, the Scorpion's tearing out the sky. That reminds me, I still need to rebuild the Scorpions according to Svorti's upgrades. There's so many things that have been slipping of late, and I'm sorry about that, but life sometimes gives you lemons, and I'm not very good at making lemonade because I actually hate lemonade. So yeah, another fun little fact about me: I hate lemonade. I don't know how that's relevant, but it's me talking to try and fill the space. And yep, okay, there, that one's dead as well. Right. Actually, here's a quick question, if anyone bothers to answer it. So, how would you feel if I started skipping some of the fights? Because I've actually recorded most of the fights in this campaign to this point. It's one of the reasons why I'm making slowish progress, actually. Because fights happen pretty darn frequently when you've got high enemy resources, so it's been slowing things down just a little bit. Maybe I should... The maggots could probably do with having some flipping harpoon missiles installed. But that would be trying to pack another system into them. Besides, they love flying around like that. But yeah, harpoons would probably help the maggots be a bit more effective against aircraft and things in general, because it would just reel them in, kind of thing. It's definitely another thought which might be... oh, seems to be in a friendly collision down there. Yep, there's been a friendly collision. Oh well. Nothing too serious though, just a slight bump.
Yes.
Still, that was easy, so let's get everything patched up. And then I'll move over into the next sector to get one more fight for this video. Unless... hang on, how long have I been doing? Oh. I'm actually at the 30-minute mark. Well, somewhere around there.
Yes. On my
Let's
way.
wander into here, claim some more land, make a nuisance of myself,
Yes.
and then I can say,
On my
hey,
way.
I've made some more
Yes.
progress. Ha ha ha, look at me. Aren't I smirt? Okay, we've got a Navy force coming in, so yes, show me. Oh, flipping time speed. We got a cataphract, 2 cataphracts, a spike, and a stinger. No, that's not too bad at all. I think I can
Yes.
take them.
On my way.
In fact, I think I can take them with just default loadout, can't I? And this land shall be mine, though I have no idea what's in here. I really need to get the scouts down here. Let's see, it's all ground vehicles, so the maggots coming out first is a good idea. Swap the scorpions for the gatlings. Let's actually bring the other maggot in early as well. So all the maggots are up front, and then it's the M-type, the R-type, and then it's followed by the MBTs, and the ASB will turn up eventually. Okay. And yep, that's a word hole there. Okay, that's all done. Nice flat area, perfect for the maggots actually. Perfect for the enemy racers as well, so not quite ideal. Oh well, let's get into this and fight. I get a whole bunch of stuff, and they get... yeah, maybe I should be cutting back on some of my excess combat vehicles here. Because the enemy's not really spawning more than one at a time, and that's making the fights a bit simple. Well, it leaves them highly vulnerable at least. Let's put it that way. And something happened there to one of the maggots, I'm not entirely sure what, but one of them seems to have been torn in half. The enemy got into the manti, didn't do much damage at all, because its front ram got shredded by the gatlings, and then... oh, that was a nasty blast there. Here's the mantis. The mantis is okay. It's just giving the enemy a ride, apparently. Oh dear, here comes some maggots. Oh dear. Yeah, as you can see, the maggots are pretty good at digging into things now. Unfortunately, they're digging into the side of one of my flipping heavy tanks, so... yeah... that's not the best result, that. Luckily though, the heavy armour of the mantis seems to be delaying the maggot rather spectacularly. So maybe I can fix this. Flipping maggots. There's the one I want. You back the hell up. Seriously, back up, please. And it can't because there's a block behind it, and it's stuck. Its spiraling rams are now stuck in the side of the mantis. So, well, at least now the drills are effective. Oh wait, no, it's because the mantis is repairing around it. Well, yay. That's not good at all, is it? Come on, let me loose! Let me loose! My forces are killing things in the background, but I can't get this maggot unstuck. Come on! Oh, there we go, finally. Okay. I can let this thing go back into the fray, I think. Honestly, that was fairly minor damage overall, all things considered. And an enemy just went bang. Oh dear. Yeah, I think I might win this, and I think I should probably reduce my number of combat vehicles. Because I'm winning partly through design and partly through sheer volume in these fights right now. Was that all of them? Oh, that was all of them as well, except for this one here. The Shirk. Oh, so that is an aircraft of sorts. The spawning on the ground for it seems to have gone horribly, horribly wrong. Especially right next to a Scorpion. Oh dear. And yep, there goes a maggot straight into the back end of it. And straight to the side of a Scorpion as well. And straight into another maggot, and I can always count on the maggots to be entertaining, I suppose, can't I? But anyway, yes. That was it for the fight. That is it for this video. That went pretty well, all things considered. Let's check how... oh, I captured the spike as well. Which means I need to scrap that. Yep, scrap it, so get some resources.
Yes.
Pull everything out. That's worth 1,000, so not much. Tanks. Dinged a bit. One of the maggots managed to get itself killed. So yeah, the maggots being 10,000 apiece, those that's actually pretty heavy losses. $13,000. I've only got about 20,000, so I can fix things up, but this... I'm still taking far too much damage, even with weighted numbers on my sides. So yeah, that's something I need to work on. I need to make some better long-range stuff. Like, I was half joking about making that 20k laser mobile, but it might actually be a good thing to do. I could probably convert it into a flyer fairly easily, but thoughts for another day. By the way, if you want that tower blueprint, let me know and I'll upload it to the workshop. I've only been uploading the vehicles, but if the tower's of interest, then I am willing to share it with you guys. But anyway, this has been I Am Mark III. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll catch you some other time.
Yes. On my way. Yes.
I'll see you all later.
On my way.